Yeah, you wouldn't record yet?
Okay, all
Okay.
set.
All right, we're going to open the meeting of the Community Preservation Committee at 10:02 on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. When I call your name, we're going to establish a quorum. Tim,
Here.
Joe, unmute.
Here.
Tom,
Here.
okay, John's in the room,
Here.
and Eleanor's in the room,
Yes, here.
and Glenna is, staff is there.
Yes.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Point of order, Madam Chair. The
Yeah.
guest speaker is also here, or the guest, Emily
The
Miller.
public, okay, the public, because we usually don't have public. Okay, Emily Miller's there, head of the school for the Nantucket Lighthouse School. Okie dokie, and somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Reno, approve.
Eleanor made the motion, Tim seconded. All those in favor, Tim,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Eleanor,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and myself. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of April 15th, 2025. Any changes?
No, move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
Eleanor made the motion to approve and Joe seconded. All those in favor, Tim,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Eleanor,
Aye.
and myself. No correspondence. The guest speaker is Emily Miller, head of school, Nantucket Lighthouse School. If anybody was paying attention to town meeting, we had to defend this one,
Emily. You want to join?
and
Sure.
we prevailed. Go ahead, Emily.
Sure. You can sit anywhere. We'll be able to see you.
Thank you so much. And thank you. I know that there were questions about this at town meeting, and we're very grateful for the support for the grant and very excited about the opportunity, not just to remediate the flooding, but also to install the rain garden, which will have public access. In the Board of Trustees at Lighthouse School has asked me to just clarify some questions that we have about the deed restriction, just making sure we better understand. Because the board's role is obviously to consider not just Lighthouse School today, but Lighthouse School 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And then, questions about what if the school had to expand and, would additional building projects impact a deed restriction? What if the school expanded to the extent that it needed to move to a different campus? What would that mean for the property and the deed restriction on the property? So I guess, one, we were just looking for a better understanding of what type of deed restriction there is, and does that deed restriction, is that based on the rain garden? Is that based on the entire 2-acre property at Rugged Road?
The short answer is that would be a great question to call the coalition in Boston. Because we
Okay,
haven't had one of those situations where the recipient gave up the property, but any deed restriction would apply strictly to the rain garden. So if you had to sell out, somebody would have to maintain that rain garden, or you would have to maybe transfer a title to the Parks and Rec or something along those lines. That's the best answer I have, but the state coalition is the one to ask that question.
okay. And is that something, Glenna, you could get that information for me, or how would I get that information
Sure.
for?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll follow up with the coalition, Linda.
okay.
I'll follow up with Stuart.
Stuart will know, because I'm not sure. Other than, yeah, I'm not even sure, because let's say there are churches all over the state that have given up their properties for one reason or another.
Mhm.
And if they have a historic preservation, because it's an historic structure, not because it's a religion, the deed has maintained, the restriction has stayed with the property.
Mhm.
So the deed restriction wouldn't be on the school, it would be on that parcel.
Okay. And again, these are just what happens if questions that everybody wanted to, because the board's responsibility is to be thinking about the school's future and wanting to make sure there's clarity about that. So that was another question I had is, and maybe calling the coalition in Boston, I'll get the answer to this. Once the rain garden is installed, it's my understanding that Lighthouse School will be maintaining the rain garden and would forever be responsible for maintaining the rain garden. Is that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But that also takes us back as, let's say you had to give up the campus and move someplace else. Whoever bought that property would be encumbered by that deed restriction.
Okay.
Unless it's given over to the land bank.
Okay.
or Some other entity that could just operate it as one of their parks, or the Parks and Rec with its DPW. So there's any number of ways of handling that, should you have to give up the property.
Okay. And then the other question, something that we had not discussed in the grant, but came up in the meeting when we were here months ago, was just providing handicap accessibility to the rain garden. And that's something that's easy for us to do. But again, I know it's hypothetical, but I want to make sure I'm being like thoughtful and I'm representing the board well. Is if their property ever changed hands, would the next owner of the property have to guarantee handicap, like parking and handicap accessibility?
Public
to-
access, so you've got to have a handicap access.
Okay,
Both in terms of vehicle space and the actual space itself has to be handicap accessible.
okay,
And be careful.
Now,
on the-
let's
Let me finish, Linda, hold on, can I finish?
Yep.
Just for, sorry, through you, Linda, but just because we at the Land Bank have had a lot of recent
Yeah.
learning curve experience about what engineers consider to be handicap accessible
mhm,
or garden designers,
mhm,
double check with
okay,
the ABA and the ADA and everything, because certain materials we thought were good and were vouched for turned out not to be functionally. And the other person you might want to talk to for sure is Brenda and Mickey
mhm,
with Comdis. I would 100% recommend, I'm sure Linda will agree, that you consult with them when you get to the point of incorporating handicap accessibility. Sorry,
Okay,
Linda.
I'm gonna add to that because I was on the Commission on Disability for 28 years. If you are providing, let's say you sell the property to
mhm,
a private property, to a private entity,
mhm,
and they are not providing any parking for anybody, the handicap accessibility can be solely from the bike path. But if somebody's providing parking, then that parking space, at least one of them has to be handicap accessible. But if a private property owner is providing no parking, then the handicap accessibility is from the bike path. That's one. Eleanor is correct, because if you look at the rain garden down on the corner of Easton Street and North Beach Street, that's a very similar situation to what you're doing.
mhm,
And that did come up at the HDC because I had to have a comment about it. The original path wasn't handicap accessible. So there are certain, like stabilized stone dust is handicap accessible.
mhm,
Brick, they hate brick because it's so damn slippery and expensive. So there are any number of ways of doing a boardwalk. It has to be a minimum of 4 feet wide. There's all kinds of stuff. But Brenda McDonough at the
Yeah.
Handicap Commission on Disability, I should have their phone number here, but I don't know
Honda's
where.
not great maintenance, FYI.
Yeah.
But that's the best place to go for that.
okay. Yeah, those are all of my questions. And again, thank you very much. We really appreciate it, and this is going to have a really positive and huge impact. Yeah, thank you.
Well, just so you know, that was only the second time in
Yes.
the 24-year history that someone has pulled that article. The other one was a snow blower machine at Dead Horse Valley, which
Right.
everybody had a problem with.
That's pretty funny.
I know, thank you.
So you're
I
in
mean,
good company here.
well, I understand that you and Tom were great advocates for us, so we really appreciate it, Linda.
Well, I'm just glad. It's going to be very interesting. As I said at the town meeting, it's a very unique project. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
Yeah, we're in great hands with Grayson, that's for sure. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
take care. Okay, not a whole lot left here. I'll come in and sign it. Glenna,
Okay.
we have a fund requisition from the Congo Church. Did we already do the Methodist Church last month? Mary Ann Stanton put one in?
Not in the.
Yes,
Okay. So we have the First Congo Church here for $17,262.71 for FY '23. They're still working on the Old North Vestry there. Anybody have any questions about it?
No.
No.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
So move.
It was Eleanor made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
John made the second.
John seconded. Okay, all those in favor? Eleanor,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Okey dokey. No old business. New business, CPC representative for Affordable Housing Trust Fund Proposal Review Committee. Because they have so many RFPs out for various, they combined all three projects into one RFP. They've had a couple of responses. They have asked for a member of this body to be an advisor on the RFP process review. And Eleanor has expressed interest in doing this, and I don't see any reason why she can't do it. She's good at this stuff. So does anybody have a problem with that?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
somebody want to make a motion to let Eleanor be the representative?
I make a motion for a lifetime appointment for Eleanor.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, Joe seconded. All those in favor? John,
Aye.
Eleanor,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and Tim.
Aye.
I think it's a positive thing because of the amount of money we have tied up with the housing trust, especially since that bond passed and that was called.
Mm.
We do have one item of that was not anticipated 48 hours in advance. We'll ratify it in June, but we got to start making plans now for our guest speakers for our annual meeting in July. And there was an issue with doing it on a Tuesday, and Wednesday seemed to be the better for one of the speakers who's only over on Nantucket on Tuesday because she's our executive director for the Housing Authority.
On Wednesdays.
Wednesday, so she's only here Wednesday. So does anybody have a problem with moving it to July 23rd, which is a Wednesday at 10 o'clock? That may affect Tom, depending on the vote for who's chairman, but does that seem to work for everybody?
I think it's fine.
Think so. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint that for sure, but I think so.
Okay, because
Would
I
it
know
be
you're
morning?
off island.
It was
Tim,
the morning.
yeah, Tim, you're off island a lot. Are you normally here on Wednesdays?
No, but that's okay. It's far enough out that I might be able to rearrange my work schedule.
Okay, because it's July 23rd, 10 o'clock Wednesday
Okay.
for our annual meeting. So we'll ratify this vote in June, but does somebody want to make a motion to move it to 10 o'clock, July 23rd, Wednesday?
So move.
Eleanor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Tim seconded. All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Eleanor,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and myself. That's great. I think we're done. Any commissioners' comments?
Yes.
Yes, Tim?
I just wanted to say you did a masterful job at town meeting defending the article on the rain garden.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Tom, too.
Don't forget to vote.
Yeah, go vote
Roger,
today.
Yeah.
No donuts, no coffee, but do a vote.
Roger
Took care of
that.
that this morning. Took care of that this morning. Okay, anything else? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn at 10:17? Well, we're almost breaking records here.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, John made the motion. Is there a second?
Yes, ma'am. Oh,
Tim seconded. All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Eleanor,
Hi.
Tim,
aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
All right, see you next month, everybody. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, you too.
You too, everybody. Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.